Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. This is podcast number 38. And we got a good one today. Let me go straight to the panel with the regulars. Steph, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I mean, we got a gift from this guys, but I'll take it. I mean, I'm not complaining. That was a bullshit penalty, and we'll talk about it. But
For sure.
hey, I'll take it. All the other teams take it. Why shouldn't we take it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm also joined by Christian. Chris, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. SCP, só com penalties. 12 PKs this season, more than any other team, baby.
For real. And we're also joined by a very special guest over in the UK. We're joined by my boy Chris. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me for this podcast. Very excited.
Hey, and thank you for coming on, man. We're very excited to have you on too. And before we get into the Boavista game, Steph, I'm going to pass it off to you. You're going to put Chris on the hot seat, bro.
Here we go, Chris. Are you set, Chris?
I am. Don't be too harsh on me.
No,
No, of course not.
No, of course I won't be. So listen, a couple of questions. Who was your biggest influence for you to be a Sportingista today?
It's difficult because I've got two twin brothers. One supports Porto, the other one supports Benfica. And I was a little kid. I like to be different, and my family doesn't follow football much. So I said, let me go with Sporting. I also like green, so that's how I started when I was 2 or 3, something.
Okay, you know what? That was very smart of you.
Yeah, the best decision you made, bro.
in your whole life, yeah. You're the smartest one out of all of 3. So, who's your favorite Sporting player of all time? In the present time, past time?
Okay. So there's Ronaldo, like the guy we are proud to make. But if I think of my favorite player of all time, it would be I think Liedson was good when he was there.
No, that's a good choice. I mean, Liedson was a great player at Sporting. I didn't like when he went to Porto personally.
Of course.
It is what it is. And then,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you been to Estádio José Alvalade?
Oh no. When I live in UK, but when I live in Portugal, I actually come from a poor background, so my mother never could afford to take me to the stadium. But I am definitely going soon.
Okay.
This year I'm planning to go.
What was the most memorable game that you recall?
The Portuguese League Cup, Sporting against Benfica. We were 2-0 down by halftime. I couldn't eat dinner. I was just upset. And then we turned it around and won 5-3.
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
Yeah.
That was a crazy game. I remember that game too.
Yeah, that was a good game. Yeah, okay. Okay, now last but not least, this is a tough question. I hope you know this question, okay? When was Sporting founded?
Oh, come on. 1906.
There you go.
I'm proud of you.
I was scared. I was like, oh, God.
No, I didn't want to be too harsh on you. And that's it. You off the hot seat.
Oh, thank you.
well done, bro. Well done. And we'll go straight into the game from yesterday. I'll go through the starting 11. Sporting obviously won 2-1 against Boavista at the Bessa. So our 11 was as followed. We had Renan Ribeiro in net, Ristovski, Sebastian Quach, Mathieu, and Borja. And defense, we had in the midfield, we had Wendell, Goudelli, and Bruno Fernandes, with Rafinha, Queen on the wings, and Luis Felipe as the main striker. Chris, I'll start it off with you, man. What did you think of the game last night?
Which Chris?
Sorry, the other Chris, bro. You're Christian today, man.
Okay, I gotta remember that.
Confusing. But yeah.
Sorry, bro.
We Boavista scored a goal. They don't even know how they scored, but it was a lucky goal. And then we we drew 1-0, but then I felt like we didn't do enough because Kaiser said all he wanted was us to rest. He wanted rest because the team was tired. He had a whole week. I was expecting them to go to Boavista with a lot of attitude, trying to get an early goal, score maybe even score 3, 5 goals. Not five, sorry, 2, 3 goals the first half. But I don't think that's what I saw. They were more content and with a slow. The game was slow, and we got that penalty at the end, which I was like, okay, so that's a nice gift. But yeah, I feel like I'm very happy for the 3 points. But I feel like we could have done better, and we were lucky.
Yeah, agreed. And Christian, I'll pass it off to you now. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, outside of their goal in the first couple minutes, I actually thought that we opened the game pretty dominantly. We had much more possession, and I mean we didn't create a million chances, but we were clearly the better team. And then we did get that goal. I'm not sure if it was Acuna or if it went down as an own goal officially. I think it might have been an own goal, but I mean, if he didn't touch it, I think or Acuna was right there on an open net. A great bit of individual skill by Rafinha there to set it up. And then, Boavista, much like a lot of the teams that we play against, they didn't really open themselves up a whole lot. They weren't that threatening. That one guy who was playing on the wing, who split his head open and had to wear a swimming wet cap. Sauer, I think his name was. He was probably their most dynamic threat going forward, and he did cause us some problems throughout the game. I think that might have been his first game as well. Not sure where he came from, but he was not bad. Not a bad signing for them. He did throw himself down on a couple of occasions. Danny, I think you said on Twitter, like he's wearing a swim cap. He thinks he's like on the swim team now or something to that effect.
The guy dove more times than I'd seen Michael Phelps dive, man. Jesus Christ.
He was flopping around, but he was, in his defense, he was probably their most dynamic threat going forward, sure. and he had a decent game. And then into the second half, Boavista kind of grew into the game more. I forgot to mention that Philippe header off the post right before halftime. That was bad. And then Boavista played a little bit better in the second half. It wasn't like the Marítimo game in the sense that it felt like the goal was coming and we were knocking on the door. We weren't really that impressive. And then as Chris said, totally bailed out by the referee at the end. Referee doesn't even go to look at it. He just trusts the guy in his ear. It's pretty soft PK, about as soft as they come. And we're fortunate to walk out of there with 3 points, especially since we were consistently so horrible on the road. It probably should have been another game that we dropped points on the road, but we were very fortunate.
Yeah, for sure. And Steph, what about you? What are your thoughts of the game?
Well, it's I'm going to piggyback off Chris and Chris. They should open a liquor store together, Chris and Chris liquor store. But the game, actually, I thought Sporting, if a team had to win, it had to be Sporting. We created more opportunities. If I can count it correctly, we had like 6 or 7 amazing opportunities to score goals. We had the own goal by Edu Machado. If Edu Machado didn't try to block the shot, Acuna would have scored anyway. Then we had the header from Philippe. I don't know how the fuck he misses that.
Me neither.
I mean, I think he was going for the bacalhau. Then we had Coates, a couple headers. He played really, really, really offensively, amazingly. And that was a smart move by Kaiser. I don't know if it was intentional, but he had a couple headers inside the box, off the pitch, and then going towards the goalie and just missing it by a few inches. Then you had that bicycle kick, which I'm amazing that Chris didn't mention it. By
True.
by Bruno Fernandes. What a save by the fucking goalie! I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like he grew wings all of a sudden. Rafinha also had a couple of chances. Diaby, he was terrible. I hate to say it, but he was. But Bruno Fernandes, he had a quick play on top of the box where he got a great shot and the goalie was there again. So Sporting, I know we got a gift with the penalty. I'll admit to that, and most Sportingistas, 99.9 Sportingistas will admit that. Will the Benfiquistas and Portistas ever will admit that? I don't think so. But that's why we're different as fans. But in the overall picture of the game, because I see a lot of Benfiquistas and Portistas harping on, "Oh, you guys got a gift." Yeah, we did get a gift, but if you look at the whole game and don't summarize it to just one fucking play, the PK, because that's all they're doing. If you go on Twitter, Facebook, they're only focusing on the goddamn penalty.
And it's because they didn't watch the game. They just watched that one play and they're like, "Oh, foi roubado."
Exato. And to me, that's annoying because the better team was Sporting. Granted, we got a gift that PK shouldn't have been a PK, but guess what? Sometimes, I like to say it. Boavista player is at fault. Why the fuck would he put his hand when the play was dead? The ball was going away from the goalie. Why would he hold his shoulder? Why would he touch his face? It was too risky. Nowadays, there's the VAR. So the VAR, all they see is it's a hand holding his shoulder, hitting his face partially. They don't look at the intensity. How do you measure the intensity of a grab? I want you guys to explain that to me. Do they have a meter or a radar? When he pushed him at 25%. There's no such thing. So if people want to get upset, they should be upset at the Boavista player because he created that situation. He put himself in the spot position, and he put the referee in the top position, o Pinheiro. So then the VAR consulted. And the conversation must have been really simple. Did you see a grab? Did he grab his shoulder? Yes. Did he touch his face? Yes. And then, again, you're a professional player. You see the ball going away. Why would you make such a... And then I have a lot of Benfiquistas friends that say, "Oh, that's a normal play from a defender." I'm like, no, that's a dumb play from a defender. You should know better. You should look around and say, "Oh, the ball is going towards the corner. I don't have to grab him or gain position on him because the ball is dead." Anyway, at the end of the day, I'm happy we won, even if it was a gift from this guy. Fuck them.
Yeah, for real. Quickly, we'll go through the game. Sorry about the phone ringing in the background. Boavista's first goal. Chris, I'll give it to you. What went wrong in terms defensively and all of that? And two, could we argue that maybe it was offside? What do you think?
I think it was just on the line. It was lucky touch, and I think he saw the ball coming and he flicked his foot, and luckily the ball went in for Boavista.
Yeah.
I think yes, someone should have been with him, but the ball fell on him. It wasn't like a major play. The ball luckily fell on him, and he was quick to react. I've actually got the thing here. I actually got the highlights in front of me. I think someone has the ball. The ball falls on his feet and is very quick to react. So it's I don't think we can blame anyone. We cannot blame the keeper, and I think they were lucky.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And actually, last question on that one play, Chris. Luis, can we blame Luis Felipe for playing the man onside or on the line? Well,
yeah, possibly,
yeah, agreed. I think that was poor positioning from him there. Yeah. Next question, I'll give it to you, Christian. The own goal from Edu Machado. How much of that is on Rafinha's shoulders? And I mean, I know we've been sort of asking it for a while now, but should Rafinha start each game? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely think that Rafinha should be starting regularly. If you look at his performances recently, he's consistently one of the better players on the field, and yesterday was no exception. I think he had the second highest rating on our team, behind or I think it was Coates, Bruno Fernandes, and then Rafinha. So I mean, he's constantly been performing as a man of the match candidate the last like 4 games that he's played. So I definitely think that he should continue starting. And then I mean, not for nothing, but I mean, Diaby did come in for like 15 minutes today, and he was not great. I think a lot of people are rightfully frustrated with his performances, just overall. I mean, he's had a couple nice moments within games, but overall his complete game isn't really anything to write home about. So I definitely think that Rafinha should definitely be the regular starter on the right wing.
Yeah, agreed as well. Steph, after that, the 1-1, we sort of went 2-0 up from a Rafinha header. It was called offside. Another tough decision. What are your thoughts? The right call, or should we have gotten that goal count?
Definitely the right call. I don't know if you guys, which channel do you watch the games? I usually use Sporting TV, and I know Chris does it now too. But at the end of the game, they have what they call o juiz final. Hello?
Yeah,
we hear you.
Okay, so at the end of the game, they have what they call a juiz final, and then they have like 12 cameras, the different angles. And then I know most people, after the game is over, they turn off the TV. But actually, I like to listen to the flash interviews to both players from both teams and the coaches, and then they have supposedly, okay, in quotes, an expert in analyzing critical plays like these ones, and they mention all the plays that you just mentioned. It's funny, but all the 3 questions, it was part of the juiz final, and then they gave a couple pointers, which I want you guys to learn from it. So they used the lines, the back line by the goalie, and the line from the small box. In the first play that you ask Chris number 1, not Chris number 2, about the goal being an offside for Boavista, they used the line, Luis Felipe. If you look at the line from the small box, the top of the line, Luis Felipe was further away than the Boavista player, and that's how they measure it. And they were right on the spot. And they freeze when the player touches the ball for the assist, and that's when it's determined if it's offside or not. And then they look at that. And then the Rafinha goal, which was canceled properly, Rafinha was offside. If you look at the bottom line, he was totally offside. Not by a lot, but that's a good measurement scale they're using. They're using the lines in their favor to make adjustment. And then if people take their time to actually listen to them, they'll see that the VAR is right on the money with a lot of calls, even on the PK. But yes, that was the goal was canceled, and that was a proper call.
All right, fair enough. And really, my last talking point, we're all going to get a say in this, really, is the penalty decision. It's definitely a hard one to call. But Chris, I'll start with you first. Chris, what are your thoughts? Was it a penalty? Is it a soft penalty? What do you think?
Okay. So when I saw the penalty for the first time, I was like, wait, what happened here? Then we saw the repetition. I felt like initially yesterday, I felt like it was a gift. I felt like if I was a referee, initially I thought I wouldn't say it was a penalty. But then today I had a look again, and there's a foul. If this was somewhere else on the pitch, where Rafinha tried to run for the ball, Rafinha never gives up, does he? So he tried to run for the ball, tried to recover it, and then the Boavista's players kind of stops him, and you can see by the movement that he did intentionally stop him. So it's a bit soft, but then again, it's not a ghost penalty. So there is something there. It's not
Sure.
like it was made up or anything. So there is a touch that stops Rafinha from playing. So I feel like yes, we could accept it. Yes, there was a bit more. I think it was not a penalty, but today I feel like it's a bit lucky. But yes, I feel like we deserved it, especially as others said, we played very well. We deserved to win that game.
Yeah, agreed. And Christian, same question. Penalty, soft call. What do you think? Because then I'm gonna play devil's advocate, maybe potentially.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't really think it's a penalty kick. Rafinha definitely sells it. Sells it the best that he can. The part that I don't really get about it is that the referee called it right away. He called it right away. He didn't mull it over or with anything. He called it right away. Yeah. Then he listened in his ear and he decided that it wasn't even worth taking a look at. That's how obvious it was. See, to me, it's not. It's borderline not even a penalty. So if something's borderline not even a penalty, it's definitely worth taking a peek at. So I don't understand that decision of it. I mean, maybe if he takes a look at it, he comes back and says it's not a penalty. So, I mean, I guess I'm glad he didn't take a look at it. But just the protocol that went into that decision, it didn't make much sense to me. And Boavista today, they were like, I mean, obviously it's not going to happen because they're not Porto or Felipe Vieira. So them requesting to hear the audio between the ref and the VAR obviously isn't going to come out. But I mean, it would be interesting to hear what went on with that conversation. I'd love to know what was being talked about that was so conclusive that they decided that it was the right call and they didn't need to look at it. So that's my 2 cents.
Fair. And before I pass it off to Steph, I'm sort of going to play devil's advocate a bit because there is an argument going around and I kind of see it and kind of agree with it, though I do believe it was a very soft call in that, like you said, Christian, that, Rafinha sort of plays into it a bit or play acts a bit. But any other part of the field, that's a foul, regardless of whether it's soft or not. There's contact to the face, Oh my God. Whoever keeps calling my house is super annoying. I'm sorry about that, guys. What was I saying? Yeah, so any other part of the field, that's a free kick. That's a, whatever. So why couldn't that be a penalty? Steph, thoughts? What do you think, bro?
I mean, I already spoke about that, but I don't want to take too much more time on this, but the problem is with our society, with the fans, is they so focus in looking at the intensity of the play, and sometimes all it takes is a little touch to desequilibrar o jogador, and that's what happened between Rafinha and the Boavista player. But if you take a step back. Really take a step back and you look at the play on replay. You can look at it in regular time, replay, whatever, slow motion, whatever. You can control it at home if you want to. So when you look at the play, the ball is going away. So if I'm Litus, if I'm the coach of Boavista, I'm going to be pissed with my defender. I'm going to tell him, why the fuck would you would you hold his shoulder? Why would you slap him on the face? Even if the intensity is not a whole lot, but you gave the referee a reason to call a PK because the intention is there. Sometimes it's the perception of things, and then he fooled the referee. He gave the referee the perception that he held his shoulder, which he did. I don't give a shit about the intensity, and he touched his face. The ball was going away towards the corner. It was not even going towards the goalie. It was going away. So if you are a professional, we're talking about the first league of Portugal. We're not talking about segunda divisão, a terceira divisão, a divisões distritais. Am I correct? So if you play at that level, it means that you're able to control your emotions better. You're more professional on your decision making, which sometimes you may have to make a decision in a second. So the fans, instead of focusing so much on the referee, they should also focus on the Boavista player. He's the one that created that whole situation. He's the one that initiated a doubt for the referee to call the PK. The VAR, they confirmed it to Pinheiro. I'm assuming because I didn't hear the conversation. Yes, he grabbed him on the shoulder. And then Rafinha, being the player that he is, he felt the contact and he fell on the ground. If he sold it or not, hey, great play by Rafinha. But let's say that the Boavista player didn't grab him. Let's say the Boavista player didn't slap him on the face slightly. Then we wouldn't have this conversation. This conversation wouldn't even happen. So the whole play was created by a bad decision making by the Boavista player, which should know better because he's a professional player. Enough is enough. The VAR cannot control the intensity of things. So the VAR just confirmed to Pinheiro, sim, agarrou no ombro, sim, deu na cara, and that's what Pinheiro had to hear. He doesn't have to double check. If he believes his counterpart in the VAR, which the VAR referee is a referee, is they just rotating. Next time Pinheiro could be the VAR referee on the next game against whatever. So that referee that said, sim, é penalty, ele agarrou, ele bateu na cara. In the protocol, the VAR doesn't talk about intensity. It just talks about, did he grab him? Did he hit him in the face? Did he stop him for him to progressing to win the play? And it's a yes. And that's why he called it PK. Now, was it a soft PK? Yes, it was. Of course it was, because we've seen worse PKs than that not being called. But now there's the VAR in play. And when there's the VAR in play, now it's part of the coaching staff to brief their players to stop making these silly mistakes. And I hate to say it, but that's the new technology, and that's the new era. So to all the fans and coaches and players, adapt. You have to adapt. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough. And so my next question really is, sort of on this penalty decision. Again, I'll ask all three of you guys, like, how can we fix it? Because this isn't the first time we've seen a poor decision called with VAR, without VAR in Portugal. It's not only new to us. Obviously, we know our rivals have benefited. Even today, Tondela against Setúbal, or Setúbal Tondela, whatever it was, there was a clear penalty not given. So I ask you guys, what has to be done to sort of, get this out of the league, because this poor officiating is just bringing our name through the mud. Chris, I'll start it off with you before moving on to everybody else. What do you think? How can we solve this issue in Portugal?
Okay, so I believe the referees are humans, aren't they? So they will make mistakes. You can add technology, the VAR, which helps to minimize those mistakes. And I think the VAR has been very good. A lot of times, things that appear obvious, when you have a look again, that they are incorrect. But there will always be some cases where it's very hard with VAR or without VAR. It'll be hard for the person, the VAR, the guy on the screen to call, and also the referee when he goes and have a look, because it's like, let's say, because it's not just like black and white, penalty or not penalty. You have like a how do I say? You have it's like levels. Imagine 0 is like no touch, no nothing, and 10 is a big foul. So sometimes it can be towards 0, 1, 2, 3. So where do you draw the line? Is very hard. As Steph said, there is definitely a touch. In football, things happen very quickly. Rafinha was going to chase the ball, and that touch, I believe, that would delay him for at least 1-2 seconds, and 1-2 seconds maybe that would be enough for the ball to go out. And if you got that ball, maybe you could do something with it. So we'll never know. Was it light? Yeah, it wouldn't be. If from 1 to 10, let's say 0 is no touch at all. 1 is a dive. 2 is like a minimal touch. 3 is like I'd say it would be like a 3 or 4. But the touch, the physical contact is there. It kind of stops Rafinha. It stops this momentum. He was about to turn and run. It kind of delayed him a little bit. It was soft, yes. Yesterday, I saw it on the TV, so I was like, okay, that's not a penalty. But then today I reviewed it a few times, and I was like, yes, actually, this is a penalty. But yeah, but your question was how to help that. I think it's hard. It's human error, and then also people have different opinions. There's us here, and not everyone agrees. So it's hard for the referee as well. So I'd say whenever they make bad decisions that are obvious, yes, there have to be pressures and people have to complain, etc. And in cases like this, as long as the referee says his criteria will be, oh, there was touch, there's a penalty. Another referee would be, oh, there has to be significant touch, intensity. So different referees will have different criterias. So the only way would be to try to make every referee have the same criteria, but is that possible? I'm not sure. For them to analyze everything the same way. But then again, everyone's different. Everyone thinks for themselves, so they will have different opinions. But yeah, humans can make errors as well. So um, I feel like it's hard with decisions like this. But for obvious ones, of course, there has to be more. There has to be more, let's say, retraining and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. And Christian, I'll pass off the same question. What needs to be done maybe to improve the level? Because like Chris was saying, of course we're not expecting these referees to be perfect, because of absolutely mistakes will happen. That's it's we're human. But there definitely needs, like Chris was saying, there definitely needs to be sort of a consistency in the decisions. So what maybe needs to be implemented to, or what do you think needs to be done to have this sort of consistency in terms of officiating?
Yeah, I mean it's obviously difficult, and you can even see it not just in our league, but in other leagues. I mean, there was major controversy that went down in the Champions League this week.
True.
As a result of the VAR. So I think it's more of a VAR issue than it is a Portuguese league issue. It's a relatively new system, and they're still working out the logistics of it all.
Exactly.
It's a good point.
Chris made a good point as well about like the scale, kind of, and it's like, what are you going to draw the line? Like, if it's 4 or lower, we're not calling it. If it's a 4, if it's a 3 or lower in the last 20 minutes, we're not calling it. Like, if we're gonna call it in stoppage time, it's got to be at least a 7. It's like you're setting yourself up with these arbitrary kind of non-objective ways to analyze these plays. And another thing too, it's like with the VAR and looking at certain things in slow motion, it makes sometimes a light shove look far more egregious than it actually is if you watch it like in full speed, regular speed. And then if you slow it down, it's like, oh man, his arm is extending. It really looks like he's pushing him, So there's that part of it too. But I mean, it's difficult. I definitely think that we're better off with it than without it. So I'm not one of those no VAR type people, because I think 9 times out of 10 offside goals are ruled correctly with it. And sometimes there's still controversy, but I mean, before it, I mean, you could be 2 steps offside and there's no way for anyone to ever know. It's all on the assistant referee in that moment, to make a snap decision. So I definitely think we're better off with that. I mean, penalties, handballs, things like that. That's where we're in more of a gray zone. You had a guy turning his back this week, and they're calling a PK, and that's a $15 million handball right there, because that is advancement to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I mean, this is a big fucking deal, So I don't really have a solution other than I think that FIFA, UEFA need to get together and have a meeting, and they kind of need to draw out okay, handball, this is what constitutes a handball, obstruction, because that's basically what their finger penalty was, obstruction. This is what it has to be. And I mean, they're not always going to get it right, but I think that if we can get it right at a higher rate than we were before, then that's success. A success isn't 100% accuracy, because that was never going to happen, but if we were at 67% accuracy without the VAR, and now we're up to 79% accuracy, I mean, it is an improvement. I mean, obviously you want it to be right 100% of the time, but as mentioned before, with humans, you're never going to get that. So I think about it.
Sorry, I was talking on mute for a bit. Yeah. And Steph, same question. What do you think?
Well, let's talk about the obvious. We all know that, like Chris said, that the VAR is a new technology that just came into the football world. So it needs to develop. It needs to adapt. And it's not as easy that the way people thought it was. People thought, we're just going to watch it on replay and it'll make things easier. Sometimes there's the question of intensity. Like Chris said, a scale 1 to 10. If it's a 4, we don't call it. I mean, but who's measuring the intensity of the push or whatever it might be? But to me, the obvious, it's also the players, especially in the Portuguese league, the players and the coaches, they suck in the sense that they don't help the referee at all. I mean, the last game we tied away, Sporting, that game was 56 minutes played. A total of 56 minus 90, 44 minutes? 34 minutes? 44 minutes. So 44 minutes were wasted because the home team was more concerned about getting the 1 point. So a lot of times there's a lot of flopping going around. There's a lot of bullshit fouls that players they fake it, and then they put the referee in in positions. If we expecting the referee to be perfect with every call, well, it's not going to happen in Portugal. I mean, you're having a wild dream, like a threesome or something, because it's not going to happen. Because our players don't help the referees. The coaching staff don't help the referees. They're more concerned about if they're winning 1-0 or 2-1 or 0-0 and it's the end of the game, or burning time, or fucking up the amazing game of football, and which people go and pay for their ticket, then actually play the football the way it's supposed to be played, or when there's a phone call actually admitting it, saying, no, it's not a corner, it was off me. No, you'll see players saying, no, it was off him, and they know it was off them, lying, and we see it on TV. To me, that doesn't have the beautiful game of football. And I think we're focusing too much on the referees, but they should also have conferences and meetings, or whatever you want to call it. There's so many names to call it, with players and coaches, to stop with the bullshit fucking flopping, fouls, and make the game of football beautiful again by just playing it and being honest. Maybe I'm asking for too much, and maybe this will be impossible, but I would love to see it. It's like corruption in football. No one no one can tell me that the corruption doesn't exist. I think it does. And now corruption will find a way to adapt to the VAR. I hate to say it, but it's going to happen because it involves millions and millions of dollars or euros or whatever you want to call it. But that's all. We shouldn't focus only the referees, but we should focus also the players and the coaching. Yeah. Everyone is to blame. It's easy to blame the referees. You know why? Because the referees don't belong to a team. So if it's so Sportingista, I'm going to attack the referee because it's easy. It's an easy target. But the players and the coaching staff are also to blame, and that's all I gotta say.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. And moving.
Let me just add one more thing.
Yeah.
I think what kind of has flown under the radar a little bit too is the robbery that has occurred in some of the smaller games as a result of the VAR. Obviously, the main focus of Twitter and the fans, most of them are Big Three fans. So obviously those are going to be the ones that more get hyper-focused on. Yeah. But there has been some egregious VAR errors, in my opinion, in some of the other games throughout the season. Even today, there was a absolutely ridiculous handball on Vitória de Guimarães in the 93rd minute, and it went uncalled. I mean, if that happened in a Porto game or Benfica game, it'd be like the cover of a ball would be like robbery of the century, so we're not talking about it in those terms, but it is kind of something that I think needs to be brought into the discussion more, especially in this whole discussion of VAR and its implementation as a whole, because I mean they're still using the VAR in those games. I don't know if you guys remember Boavista game, I believe it was, or earlier this season, the flag blocked the VAR camera, so they just couldn't review it, so they just called it a goal because a flag was blocking the camera. Like, crazy shit has happened, and it's kind of flown under the radar unless you're really paying attention to some of this stuff. And I think that the Big Three teams get the benefit of the doubt with the VAR more times than say Tondela does.
Yeah, agreed. All right, and from there we move on a bit back to the game. Just sort of closing it off, Chris, I'll ask you this question: did Sporting deserve to win? Like, did we have a good enough performance to win, and it was just a bad night in terms of finishing, or was it just a really poor showing overall?
Sporting wasn't all that bad. I mean, I was expecting more. I was expecting them to score a few goals. I was expecting them to win 3-1, like, comfortably. I was expecting them to just have a game without that much of suffering that we had. But yeah, so we did all right. We did not amazing, not bad. I think we did okay. Could have done better since the players are playing once a week, like Kaiser has been saying. We created chances. The only problem is we're not finishing them. As you guys mentioned, Luis Felipe had a golden chance which he hit the post, but those things happen. If you watch Liverpool Everton, Salah was 1-on-1 with Pickford and he couldn't score. So I mean, those things happen. But I just wish that Sporting became more clinical, the same way they were clinical when Kaiser first started in the first 7-8 games. They would score goals, but now it's not happening. So they need to see what's happening. And we've got Bas Dost, which who isn't very well, I think, mentally. I think he needs to get his confidence back. And I feel like he was.
Foda-se. Eu também não estou bem mentally, but if they pay me $3 million, I would be really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel when Basel's come, it will help as well. But yeah, I think Sporting, we did okay. So in summary, we played okay. Could have done better. We managed to get the 3 points, and let's hope for more wins, especially away wins, because they are very rare for us.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and my second last question, actually, before I ask all of you guys, I'll ask you this, Christian. Next game. Let's hypothetically, of course, Bas Dost, let's say he's out with that knee injury. If it is true or if it's just his confidence, but let's say he's not playing next game. Should we stick with Luis Felipe? He did have a really bad miss, but like Chris mentioned, it happens sometimes to even the best of players like Salah. Or do you think we should maybe dip into the under 23s and you haven't been impressed? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if the solution is either of those things. Really, I mean, Philippe, he tries hard, but to me, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if he's Sporting quality. He does have an incredible goal scoring record in the Segunda Liga, but I mean that's a big jump. So I mean, maybe even for a team like Guimarães or Paços Ferreira, they'd be in the not Guimarães, but maybe borderline Guimarães, maybe lower, Fadense or Setúbal, a team like that. Paços Ferreira would be in the first division next year. Maybe he can go back there. I mean, I don't see it. And he wasn't expensive, but at the same time, he wasn't cheap. I mean, he cost $500,000. That's not by no means anything to scoff at. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sold on him. I think other options as far as not Bas Dost, obviously there's Pedro Mendes or Pedro Marques, or you could maybe do a false 9 with Bruno Fernandes as your furthest forward. Bruno Fernandes has played up top before. He did a lot with Jorge Jesus, Bas Dost, Bruno Fernandes up top in a 4-4-2. So, I mean, I honestly think that might be a better solution as opposed to sticking a 19-year-old to start the game in his first game ever. Because, I mean, that's a lot of expectation on your shoulders, So, I personally think that, maybe Bruno Fernandes as the target forward in a 4-3-3 or Bruno Fernandes as the furthest man forward in a false 9 maybe would be all alternate solutions.
Fair enough. Steph, I'll ask all of you guys this, but who was your man of the match last night?
To me, it was Acuna.
Yeah, same here actually. Christian, who was your man of the match?
My man of the match is Coates.
Yeah, another one had a good game.
Yep.
Yeah, and Chris, man of the match?
Yeah, I was going to say Coates as well for his attitude.
Yeah, fair enough.
Honorable mentions to Bruno Fernandes, Rafinha,
and Mathieu too.
And
had
Acuna.
Big stop in the back that could have led to a. I think it was 2-1. It would have been 2-1.
Yeah. Mathieu was solid as well. Acuna, we mentioned him. I thought Borja played well as well.
Me too. That left side, you've seen the big difference Borja made when he left and Diaby came in. That left side was not as good as it once was, or as it was like throughout the entire game. All right, cool. That's basically the Boavista game. Christian, I'm gonna pass it off to you really quick. Give us a quick little update on this Josh Harris situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much for you guys. It's just an interesting little thing that I happened to see on Bloomberg News of all places. Not exactly. I wouldn't be going there for any sort of other news other than maybe some financial stuff. But so it came out I think on Friday that Josh Harris and his business partner David Blitzer were looking to sell their 36% share that they have of Crystal Palace. They bought the team in 2015, or they bought their almost more than a third stake in 2015, and they're already looking to sell it. So I think that just is interesting timing, considering that these guys are considering putting 65 million into Sporting at the same time that they're not thinking about selling Crystal Palace. Also worth noting that back when they invested in the team in 2015, one of their I guess promises or one of their investment objectives was to get the team a new stadium built. Here we are 3 years later, that new stadium hasn't been built, but there's been rumors about potential renovations in the near future. So now that that's happening, it's interesting that these guys are looking to get out. Just something worth noting. I'm not really sure what these guys are up to, but their 65 million for Sporting is most definitely coming with strings attached, and it will just be a matter of time to see what they are.
Yeah, for sure. And all right, Steph, we're gonna move a bit on to transfer news, unless you have anything to say about that. But even if you do, I'll ask the question anyways. Next year, our back line is looking a bit questionable. Um, Rumors of Matthews almost guaranteed sold at the end of the year or at the end of the season. Coach is still up in the air, but you know, Sporting needing money, maybe he'll likely be sold. Also, rumors of Luis Neto coming in, and then Ivanildo Fernandes starting a preseason with us at the very minimum. What are your thoughts on our future back line, our future defense? How's it looking like for next season?
Okay, before I get into that, the only thing I wanted to say about the Boavista game is I hate to play starting playing with 10 players.
Yeah,
Gudelci should never be a soccer player, a football player. Maybe he would be a good I don't know, handball player or badminton, table tennis, but definitely not football.
Some good news. Just because you're on Gudeli, he doesn't play next game. He got a yellow.
Oh, nice. That's
he
good.
He didn't deserve to see the yellow, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. He doesn't play. He doesn't play. That's good for us.
So with that said, I think Doumbia should be given a fair chance to play 90 minutes.
Yeah,
that's why I want to talk about that. And then our offensive line, Luis Felipe is not the answer at all. He's maybe good for as a backup, but he can handle the pressure. We could see it. Maybe he needs a couple more months, but I don't think so. And then to answer your question, Mathieu, he has been giving hints he wants to go back to his native country, France. I mean, let's take into account he's 34 years old, so he wants to go back home and he wants to be an influence to the youth. I forget which team it is. Is it Bordeaux or I forget? But he wants to go back to his roots and and be some kind of a coach for the youth. So we can hold it against him. Basically, he wants to hang it up. Then Coates, if we get the right amount for him, why not sell him? I mean, I would prefer to keep him. Of course, he's a top quality, world class player. But um, we have amazing center backs loaned, like Ivanil Fernandes to Moreirense, Duarte to Coruña. And if those two young players they come, they'll give me the guarantees I need. I would bet on them. I would. Then in the under 23, we have João Silva, João Queiroz. They're very consistent as well. Um, so I don't think we have a problem in the center back position. Even if we sell Mathieu, I don't think we'll sell him. I think he'd just be the end of his contract. And
yeah.
and even if we lose Coates, it's a risk. Yes, it is, of course. And I think that's why they're getting Luis Net, because apparently he signed for 3 years. Because he brings experience and he'll be a good fit replacing Mathieu. But at the same time, he's an older player, so most likely he's more exposed to injuries. But I'm super excited. I mean, I don't know if you looked at the even Leo Fernandez playing Moreirense, he's been phenomenal, phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. He's been one of their better players this season.
I'm telling you. And then Duarte in Coruña, it's the second division of Spain, but the second division of Spain is like almost equivalent to our first division. He's been playing with full confidence and phenomenal too. So they're both getting a lot of minutes, a lot of experience. So I'm super excited if they do come back, and it looks like they are. So I'm not gonna hit the panic button at all, even if we lose Coates. I mean, he's got to be making what 2.5 million, 3 million, maybe. He's one of the top paid athletes we have. So next year it's reconstruction, and I don't like what Kazi is doing now. What are we fighting for? The third and the fourth position, which is the same shit. It gives you the same access to Liga Europa. I mean, you don't get a bronze medal if you finish third. So I don't care if we finish third or fourth. So me personally, if I was Kaiser, I would make experiments with the youth that we have in the under 23 team, like Benfica is doing. There's a reason why Benfica in the under 23 they in last place. It's because they basically using all the players in their A team, which is okay because if you follow football the way you're supposed to, you don't just make fun of a team. Aha, Benfica now sucks in the under 23. That's actually a silly vision. It means that you don't know nothing about football because they're using those players in the A team. That's why now it's a weaker team. And Sporting now looks stronger because we demoted Joavan Cabral and Miguel Luis. So now we look stronger. Players that should be in the A team and Kaiser should be using them and should be doing experiments with our future. The probable players for the season 2019-2020. And that's it. That's all I got to say.
All right, sweet. I think I lost you guys for a second, but I'm back.
Hey, don't worry about it. I was talking a lot, so.
No problem at all, buddy.
Eu quando começo a falar, já sabes como é que é.
That's perfect. That's perfect, though. Don't worry about it. Just quickly, I wanted to ask Chris on his opinion on this new signing or potential new signing. I guess nothing's official yet, though most places are reporting it. Luis Neto. Chris, we obviously know Luis Neto a bit from his time on the Seleção, maybe even some Champions League games if people have watched or if you've watched Zenit over the years. What is your opinions on 30-year-old Luis Neto?
Okay, so I think it comes as a backup option. He has experience. He's Portuguese, so he'll probably settle well or quicker than a foreign player. However, yeah, I would lie if I said if I know him very, very well. I know him when he played for Portugal. I feel like it's an option, but it's an option as Sporty wants to have some of their players back, some of the young players on loan, like Ivanildo, like Domingos Duarte. It's a shame that Demiral's been sold. I was actually a fan of him. I thought he would do well on the sports team, but I hope he does well in the future. But yeah, so we've got Domingos Duarte, we've got Ivanildo coming back, and I hope that both Coates and Matthew stay. I'm not sure if we'll get both.
Yeah.
If one of them is Sporting is expecting one of them to leave, I think Luis Neto, it's a backup. I hope it's cheap. Yeah, I think it'll be free transfer, and hopefully his salary won't be too high. So that could be a cheap backup option for us to have.
Yeah, agreed. And the last thing I'll mention about our back line or about Coates really, Joel De Silva actually mentioned it earlier on our chat, and it actually cracked me up. He said Coates will be sold for a 6-pack of Superboc and a jar of Termos. But knowing this administration, maybe. Christian, actually, last question. I'll give it to you. Barring any purchases, let's just say Luis Neto's already signed on. Your 4 for next season, not counting on Coates and Mathieu. Who's your 4 center backs?
Well, I guess Neto then. Ivanildo Fernandes, Domingos Duarte, and then I think you got to go to the market for another one. I mean, obviously Abdou Conte is an option. Depends if we're going to play 3 at the back. Borja could slot in there. You have Elordi as well. But, you know, I mean, of those, I mean, who's the starters there? Neto and Elordi? That scares the shit out of me, you know?
Yeah.
you're not gonna win a title. I mean, Porto has Felipe and Pep, and we have Elordi and Neto. Like, it's not even comparable.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. And all right, let's move on to the Twitter questions. We had quite a few before we get into Modalidades.
Give me 1 second.
Forza, bro.
Okay, so Luis Net, just to have a little bit of background on him. So he was born in 1988. He's 30 years old, like you said. His first team was Povo de Varzim.
Yep.
From 2006 to 2011. Then he went to Nacional for one season, 2011, 2012. Then he went to Siena, Italy for one season. Then he went to Zenit, and he's been there for a little while. Then he went to Fenerbahce of Turkey.
Yeah.
And then he was in the Portuguese national team under 20 4 times, under 21 4 times, and the A squad Seleção 19 times.
Did he win the Euros with us? Actually, I can't remember now. I don't think
he did. I don't think he did.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Remember.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Fair. But he has been, he is still a Seleção defender. He's featured a few times here and there, or at least been convocado. So,
and he's 6'2". So
yeah, which is a big thing for us.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to the Twitter questions. Chris, I'll start off with you for this first one. It comes in from Sporting CP Youth at Sporting CPY on Twitter. And he asks, at which position or positions do we need new players? And which players do you want to see at Sporting? Realistically, of course. You can't say like Ronaldo and Messi because that'd be too easy,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sporting. So if Coates or Matthew, if one of them are leaving, so we definitely need another player. I think Neto will be, as I said, a cheap solution, and then hope that either Nildo and Domingos Duarte are able to. We hope that they've acquired enough experience to be able to play for us now. I think as a right back, I believe that Bruno Gaspar he hasn't been great, so I think we should sell him. Thierry Correa should be promoted, but then again, you never know when you promote teenagers. I think it's 19 or 20. I think he turned 20 the other day. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think maybe another right back to just be safe. Or actually, think about it. We've got what's his name? Playing for Aves.
Mama Balde.
Yes. Him.
Yeah, good shout too.
He's been playing as a winger, but originally he played as a right fullback. So I'd like to see him back as well. So depending on financial situations, we could go for the market and get a good player, or we could try. I mean, the pre-season is there for that. So the pre-season we could try to see how mature those players are and see if we need to get someone else or not. I believe we need another number 6 because I don't think Udali is doing the job. Dumbia seems exciting. I think is good. But then again, we need backup because if you want to compete in all the competitions, you need a good squad depth. So number 6. I haven't got any names to be honest.
Bruno Paz.
Bruno Paz. Yes.
Yeah, Bruno Paz.
Yeah.
I love Bruno Paz, man.
I hope that pre-season he plays. Yeah, I hope all the many of youngsters, homegrown players, they get chances to show they've got. Bruno Fernandes, I think he will leave. He's very good, and actually for Sporting, I would love if we did like Leipzig did with Naby Keita. So you sell him, let's say he goes next year. So that would be perfect because a lot of times players they will devalue. William Carvalho had big teams going after him, and then eventually you got West Ham going after him, and then Betis. So I feel like unless you're in the Champions League and it'll be very hard for him to have another season like this. I mean, you never know because last season was good. I didn't think it would do as well as he's doing now. Um, but yeah. So someone to replace him if he leaves. Um, there is this midfielder that played for Dinamo Zagreb that played against Benfica. Apparently, he's meant to be amazing. So I just hope that they've got good scouts. And of
Oh yeah,
course, we need
oh yeah, oh yeah. I heard about him. He's at the same age as Jean Felix.
Felix. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think he's a bit older. Yeah, it's Danny Olmo or something like that, or Alma.
Italiano.
I don't know. I don't know.
Espanol.
Yeah, I think Spanish. Yeah.
Yeah. The coach was bragging about him, saying if this guy played in Benfica, he would be worth it the same thing as Ron Felix.
Yeah. He's a
yeah.
decent player, to be fair. The guy, but
But yeah, I hope we get cup quality because if you want to lose Bruno Fernandes, you cannot have someone that is like a gamble. It has to be. I mean, every player is a gamble, but hope for a safe one. So
yeah.
you sell him for 60 million, 70 million, spend another 8-10 to make sure that our quality doesn't go down too much. Um, Wingers as well. I guess Mateus Pereira will get some opportunities next year, but we might need another one, and we need to see how Gonzalo Plata is as well. So, and then something we definitely need is striker. 100% sure we need a striker. Because if Bazos doesn't turn up or if he's sold or anything, I don't think we've got someone with the quality to help us achieve our goals. And actually, goal wise, we could give Maximiano a few opportunities as well, like we did to Patricio. Um, Otherwise, I'm not quite sure if we should buy another keeper or use the one we
No,
have.
no. I agree with you. It should be Maxi. I mean, I don't even know why we told Studio that we want to stay with Ribeiro. I mean,
Yeah,
unless Salah is leaving, then I kind of understand.
Yeah, same. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, because we still have another great goalie, Stokovic.
oh yes,
He's
yeah,
yeah, he's another great goalie, but I think Maxi's is on point. He's on point to start in the Portuguese league. I mean, we're talking about the goddamn Portuguese league. It's not the Premier League.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And all right, Christian, I'll give you this next question. It's from Kevin Fernandes, who's actually on our chat right now. At Kev1 and Narush6 on Twitter. He asks, how would you fix the issues with refereeing, as there is a lot of controversy surrounding the refs, especially after Casillas' comments yesterday? So we kind of discussed it a bit, but like, I guess point form, sort of. What do you think?
Well, first off, I think they need to start enforcing the standards equally across the board. I think that a PK against Porto should be a PK against Tondela when they're playing Santa Clara as well. So I think first off, it's important to enforce it equally. And I think that the referee, if there's a decision that he's listening in his ear for 2-3 minutes, at that point, man, just go fucking look at it yourself. I don't get it. Like, you're standing there with your finger on their earpiece for 3 minutes. Like, you could have watched it by now yourself, Like, so just go take a peek at it. I don't get it. You have those tools at your disposal. You should be taking advantage of them all. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult to completely, eradicate all of the irregularities, but you got to use the tools available at your disposal to try to get all the calls right you can.
Yeah, for sure. And this last question, I'll actually give it to all of us. It's from Joel Da Silva, who is in our chat, at Joe Leong _073 on Twitter. He asks, what are your happiest, proudest moments of being a Sporting fan? Steph, I'll start that one off with you, man.
Well, the happiest time for me was when my father took me to my first game, which was a long time ago. It was in Agda for the Portuguese Cup. I was a little fart. I couldn't even I didn't even have pintelhos. So that was an amazing game because the stadium was small but it was packed, and it was an old stadium made of concrete. No seats, nothing at all. But of course, I was on the side of Sportingises, and all I saw was green and white, and I instantly fell in love with Sporting and that moment, that day. And I think that game Jourdan scored twice. So we're talking about a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was the moment. And by the way, Joel, he'll be our next guest next time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Christian, I'll same question, bro. Happiest, proudest memories of being a Sporting fan?
That run up until the Europa League final in 2005 was one of my earlier memories, and that was pretty fun. We had pretty good turnarounds on the road to that. I believe we came from behind against Feyenoord and against Newcastle United as well, with Alan Shearer up top. I mean, that was a great Newcastle team, and we turned the result on them. So yeah, I mean, I was pretty proud. Even when we made it out of the group stage in the Champions League for the first time and got absolutely battered by Bayern Munich, I was still proud. Having success in the European level is always, a sense of pride for your club. Yeah, I mean, and even some of our cup triumphs, 2014 final where we were down 2-0 with 10 men.
Oh yeah.
And Slimani scored the first one, and then Montero scored in stoppage time. We won in PKs. That was a great memory too. That was our first trophy that we'd won in like 7 years, and that was really one of the more memorable games in the past few years.
Yeah.
And even I think 2008 Cup final against Porto, we won that. There's been more devastating moments for sure, but there's been some good ones along the road as well.
Yeah, that just makes it worth it,
Yeah.
And Chris, same question, bro. What's your happiest, proudest memories of being a Sporting fan, bro?
Okay. There are a few. This year, it was the League Cup, so we won the League Cup. I was very happy because before the season started, I thought to myself, we're gonna finish sixth or something. We're gonna have a terrible season. And then we actually won the League Cup, and then we beat Braga, and then we beat Porto. Even though it was a penalties, I was so happy because even my friends that's Benfica fans, and they say, "Oh, you guys deserve it." After everything that happened, you guys deserve to win. So yeah, I was very proud this year, and of course, our European campaign with Jorge Jesus as well against the games against Real Madrid, Juventus. I think those were really good. I just finished my master's in university, so I finished like 6 months ago. So this was when I was at university. I used to tell all my friends that support Man United, Chelsea. I said this sporting is bad. I said if you guys play against us, we will beat you like 3-0 or something. And so I talk so much. I used to say, oh, if Sporting was in the Premier League, we'd finish third or second. And I mean, they'll be like, wow, this guy's passionate. And it's a shame that those guys, Joseph Martins and Rafael Leão, that they terminated their contract because I talked about Sporting players so much to my friends, literally. Even the girls as well. Like, look, let me show you which YouTube video real quick of our players. This guy will be the next big thing. So yeah, I was very proud of the team under Bruno Carvalho. The European campaigns were just amazing, and when you live abroad, your friends will be like, oh, if you say, oh, we won the League Cup, they'll be like, oh, but that's Portugal. But when they see you playing that way that we played against Juventus, playing the way we played against Atletico, etc., they're like, oh wow. And actually, they watched the games. They said they started watching the Sporting games in Europe. They said, "Wow, Sporting is actually much better than I thought." They played against Juventus like equal, and so they were impressed. So yeah, I was very proud. I was proud then.
Yeah, and quickly to me, same with you, Chris. I also have a bunch of buddies here that are, either big Chelsea fans, United fans, Juve fans. I just started working at an Italian restaurant, so I have to deal with like Juve fans and all of them. And whenever I say I support a Portuguese team, they're like, "Oh, which one, Benfica or Porto?" I'm like, "Buddy, don't ever bring up that garbage around me," So I also got a bunch of Canadians saying "Viva Sporting" all around Toronto, actually. But my proudest moment would probably be, or at least the happiest moment, I think, would be that Taça Portugal comeback. Just because, listen, I thought it was typical Sporting performance. We were gonna
against Braga.
Against Braga, and we were gonna fuck this up, and then we would have to hear Salvador, talking all the time, and these Lampiões supporting their B team, and the red card on Cedric was also super bullshit, and it wasn't bullshit, but anyways, long story short, to have that comeback in the last 10 minutes and then go to penalties and be as confident as we were, and some of the players putting in a performance like. If I'm not mistaken, Carlos Mané played right back towards the end of the game, and he was fucking killing it. And it was a happy moment, man. At least the most recent happy moment I've had supporting, not most recent, but one of the happier moments I had supporting Sporting that comes to recent memory. Before we get into the previews and predictions of Santa Clara, Steph, I'll throw it off to you, bro. Give me the updates on the modalidades, bro.
Okay, so I'm gonna wing it. I don't have my computer in front of me. I'm away in the Navy, but so the juniors under 19, we got spanked 5-1 against Football Club Porto.
Yeah,
but that happens a lot in the youth.
And to be fair, they have some kid that looks like the next big deal. I forgot his name now, but
from Ghana.
He looks good, bro.
Yeah. No, we do too. We have a Ganesh.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he's been scoring in 2 games in a row. In the juveniles, we won 4-1, so we finished in first place. We're moving on to the phase of the Campeões Nacionais. That's the last phase. Iniciados, we tied, and we moved on to the same phase as well. So all 3, under 19, under 17, and under 15, they all qualified for the final phase to become champion of Portugal. And typically, it's always against Benfica, Porto, Braga, Guimarães, and Belenenses. So I don't know offhand the other teams, but for sure it's Sporting, Porto, and Benfica in all 3. Under 23, we missed goals after goal after goal, and we tied against Estoril. So we missed a chance to be in first place with Rio Ave. It's a shame. Okay, in Patins, we won against the German team, and we played our B squad actually. That game didn't really matter. Our next opponent would be Lodi from Italy for the quarterfinals. So it should be 2 exciting games, but we are better than them. But still, we have to play 100% to move on to the semifinals of the league, the champions of Joaquim Patins. In volleyball, we lost the semifinal against Monza, the Italy, but today we won against Ismuris. And yesterday, too, for the Portuguese Championship, which now we in the final, we in the playoffs, and we will play in volleyball against Sporting Espinho. And then for the game today, it's very typical for volleyball to have 2 games, one day after the other. It's very typical. Today they played against Ismuri, but for the Portuguese Cup, and now they're in the final 4 of the Portuguese Cup. So very confusing, but I think I got it down. Then we in handball, I know we lost against Benfica, and it sucks, 26-25. Yeah. But it's not the end of the world, because Benfica is basically out of the title race. We have 1 game behind, which it's against the last place team, which we're going to play them, I believe, on Wednesday. If we win, we'll be in first place because we have better results against Football Club Porto. And then we have a favorable calendar, meaning that if we win the remaining of our games, then we'll be champion of Portugal once again. So we're in good shape in handball. I'm predicting that we'll be champions of Portugal because we already played against Porto, we already played against Benfica, And typically the most difficult team after them is Aguascalientes, and they haven't been playing well. I don't know what's going on, but they've been losing a lot of games. Then in futsal, like Chris mentioned, we won 5-4 against Leon Sport Salvo. That was a tough game, actually, but we won, so that's all that matters. Am I forgetting another modality, or I got them all? I think I got them all.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh,
all right. And table tennis.
Table tennis. We lost at home 3-2 against the French. I'm not gonna curse them out because I'm partially French. I was born there. So, but it was a tough games against tough opponents. They have an amazing player from, even though it's a French team, the top player they have is from the UK. He was phenomenal. He's high ranked. He's like number 30 something. And then they had another great player from Belgium. They had also a Chinese player. But with a little bit of luck in France, we might be able to pull it off. So it took up to the last game for them to win. So it was very, very, very tough. And best of luck to them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and let's move on to our game on Friday. It'll be at 4, I believe, here in the East Coast. Let me double check that real quick. 4:30.
With the 4-hour time difference.
Exactly. So 4:30 here, and it'll be 8:30 in Portugal. So Christian, I'll start it off with you, bro. Predictions and preview of Sporting Santa Clara.
Last time, or I guess the first time we played them in the Azores, they gave us some problems, and we were fortunate to take 3 points. Obviously, traveling that far put us at a disadvantage. If I recall correctly, too, it was super windy as well.
Who was the coach?
The coach of that game, was it Thiago Fernandes?
You got it, yes.
Yeah. So, if I remember correctly, it was super windy and rainy too. So conditions weren't great. We had a long flight there. So I mean, I expect us to win because all those factors will be in reverse now because they'll be the ones having to make the long plane ride. So, but at the same time, they've had themselves a very respectable season. It's not a bad team at all. And I think they play Benfica tomorrow. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, I think so.
No. Tomorrow Benfica.
Belenenses. Yeah.
Okay.
They played yesterday or the day before. They tied. Okay. They played today actually. Sorry, they tied against Aves.
Okay. Yeah.
0-0.
So, I mean, I think I expect it to be a good game. I think that they're one of the better teams outside of the big three. I think that they're definitely a top half team. So I think they're one of the top 8 squads this season. So it definitely won't be easy. And, we'll make a meal out of any game possible. So it's not like the opposition even matters, really. But, I'm interested to see. Hopefully, we get to see Doumbia for 90 minutes. If Bas Doss plays, hopefully he got his shit together this week over his week off. I personally don't think he was actually hurt. I just think that he was given a game off, basically, to kind of get his head straight. And I agree with that decision. And then they just said, he had tweaked his knee. So I think that's just them covering for him. It's smart. I mean, the man needed a game off. If you put him out there again and he was shit again, you're just making his confidence worse.
True. And then benching him might not help him.
And having him in the team and sitting on the bench also. So just give him the game off.
Yeah.
It gave us an opportunity to see Philippe. Obviously, he didn't show anything. I don't know if he has it. So obviously, maybe if the injury is actually real, we'll see if he's fit. Personally, I don't think it is. So I think that we should expect to see him again. But hopefully Rafinha starts over Diaby. I think that we have the ability to get 3 points. waiting for Braga to drop points so that we can kind of take advantage and gain some ground on them. They had a hotly contested Minu derby this weekend, and I was hoping they would at least draw. But they are we're keeping pace, but the gap is still 3 points. So
yeah, we lost points when we really shouldn't have. Against Marítimo. Yeah, and sorry, did you say score prediction?
Oh no, I didn't.
What do you think?
I'm going to go 3-2.
3-2. Right.
A bit more high scoring. I think that Bruno Fernandes scores. I think that Rafinha scores. And I think that Borja scores.
Steph, I'll give it off to you before I pass it off to Chris and let him have the last word.
So you want me to
just
tell
quick
you
preview and predictions of Santa Clara, what you're expecting and what you think the score will be?
3-1.
3-1. All right, short, sweet, and simple, Steph. I like that. And Chris, I'll let the last words be for you, man. What do you think? What are you predictions on the Santa Clara game? And what do you think we're gonna come up against?
Okay. Sporting at home they're different. It's like you've got the 5 Infinity Stones. Like they're good.
Thanos, motherfucker.
No, sorry. Sporting at home. I think it's the 12th player, the fans. I think that's the factor that makes them extra motivated, and they play comfortably. They play well. Not always, but I'm going for win. Well, at least a 2-goal difference. So I think I'll go with a 3-1. I believe Bastos will come back stronger than ever. He'll score 2 goals. And the other goal will be scored by Bruno Fernandes. As Christian said, it will be very exciting to see Doumbia play for 90 minutes. Yeah. We haven't seen much, but from what we've seen, he seems to be a good signing. So I'm looking forward to see him playing for a full match. I hope he plays for a full match. And so 3-1, Sporting wins. And I hope that the fans fill the stadium because it does make a difference for the team. Sporting is what the fans is not a club. So I hope, because I think last time they got 25,000. Am I right?
Yeah.
25,000. Yeah. So I hope the team gets more support. I understand that people are happy with how things are going, but I think that support will help the team, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, Danny, a shout out to our fans at Boavista because I could hear them at home.
Oh yeah. I seen a picture of a comparison of last night's game and then last year's game at the Bessa, and you can tell there's a lot of a lot of our fan base is sort of given up or just aren't following the soccer team as much. There was also some of the clocks divided between football and handball that was playing at the same time. So that's sort of why there wasn't as many fans out. But yeah, definitely a special shout out to Boavista, a big fan base in Portugal and a historic club, as well.
Yeah, but I just want to mention something that Chris said, which I totally agree with them. Doumbia should play. I know I said it quite a few times, but not only Doumbia. Now it's a time for Kaiser to experiment some of our youth. Give them a chance. I mean, why not give a chance to Pedro Mendes, to Pedro Marques? What's holding you back? Give them a chance. Bruno Paz, Thierry, Correa. Give them a chance. Now it's the time. See what they got. Put them under pressure in these games at home. I mean, we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to gain. Moreirense is 10 points away. Vitória de Guimarães is 14 points away. So the third place, like I've said before, does it really matter if we finish third or fourth? We're not going to get to the second position or the first position. I mean, Porto just won today. So I mean,
Yeah.
all I gotta say is I want Kaiser to be adventurous and start building the team now. You have 9 games left. Start your preseason earlier. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I would agree with you, man. I think we need a lot more rotation, especially in that midfield.
Yeah.
Why Gudeli plays every 90 minutes? Why Sheikh Geralds can't,
Wendell is
fucking.
gas too.
Yeah, and it's not like Wendell's been playing bad. He hasn't, but you can tell he's lost a bit of that. I don't know, that like energy that he had earlier on. Maybe it's his knee too. Like he still plays with bandages on his knee since that knee injury. Man, like it's sort of a flashback to George Zouge, but it's even worse because under George Zouge at least we were winning games, and now it's we're not winning games so comfortably at least.
But it ain't like we don't have solutions. I mean,
exactly, we do.
We loaned Bragança. Why didn't we keep him? Because we want to give him minutes. But there's a solution. Bragança could play the position of Wendell.
Yeah. But I mean, we have Sheikh Geralds on the bench that can play the position of Wendell that isn't even being played.
Exactly.
And Miguel Luis, who's been faded out of the team since scoring a golaço, and Bruno Page in the under 23s, who's looked good enough. Another number 6, but Bruno Page can play number 8. Definitely can play number 8.
But Bruno Page, when he played number 6 in the last League Europe, he played well.
Yeah,
great vision. He wasn't passing the ball backwards or to the side. He actually had a vision, going deep.
Yeah.
And if you motivate these young players, then they'll be super. That's what Benfica did. Benfica, all they did was, you know what? Bruno Lage, he said, I know the players in the under 23. Trust me. And they said, okay, so let's go with your intuition. So he promoted a bunch of youth that they were getting paid 3,000 euros a month. They started playing with like they never played before. They bettered their salary conditions, and look at them. They took off. They're playing well. It doesn't mean they're not going to crash towards the end because they had a little bit of a kick in the ass against Zagreb when they lost 1-0 and they played like shit last game. But if you take into account that the trip was long and all that stuff, I believe if you can lose, they'll win against them. They're not a big team anyway.
Yeah.
But with all that said, is a lot of Portuguese would like to see Kaiser bet on the youth, and I'm pretty sure the three of you agrees with me. Why not? We only have 9 games left. We got the 4th position already. So try the youth. Try a few players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I just add? Yeah, I was saying that the other day as well to a guy on Twitter. I said, doesn't mean we'll play all the youth, but maybe 2 or 3 changes. Let's say, instead of Ristovski, we could play Thierry Correia, and then on the 70th minute, Bruno Paz could come on, because that way those players will get used to play those big games, because it's not the same when they play for the under 23s. You have a stadium of 30, 40,000 people watching you. You're being watched on TV. So I feel like if they're introduced to the game, they will feel more comfortable, and that will help them grow. So for next season, it will be easier for them to step up. And as Steph said, I completely agree. They need to feel like they are backed. They need to feel like we trust them. We have confidence, because that way it makes them want to show themselves and not play with caution, try not to make mistakes, but rather just there to do their best and put in effort. Because as I said, we've got 9 games left. Might as well start showing us some new players.
Yeah, gamble a little. Maybe he needs to go to Atlantic City for this.
All right, and with that being said, Chris, we just want to thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You're a gran Sportingista. Keep it up, buddy.
Thank you for following us.
Thank you for following us. Exactly.
So active on Twitter. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I was very pleased with when you guys invited me for this, because it's amazing. I speak to other Sportingistas, and so thanks a lot for the invite, for the opportunity. It's been, I just looked at the clock. It's been 1 hour 36 minutes, but it felt like it was 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I know.
That's how these things. That's how these things happen, man.
I know.
Yeah, man. Always flies.
The other day I was catching up on one of yours. It was, I think it was 1 hour 44 minutes. I think last week one, and yeah, I was like, oh, it's long. But then I put it on, and then I was just listening to it. I didn't feel like, I was like, oh, I enjoy this. This is quite good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, bro.
Thanks very much for this.
It makes my day. You know.
Yeah,
it makes my day.
Same.
Cheers.
Same.
Thank you.
Anyways, thanks, Chris, for coming on. Christian, Steph, thanks as always. Everybody in the chat, Caputo, Kevin, Joel, Abdallah. I'm probably forgetting a few more. Sorry if I am. Thank you guys for interacting with us as always. You can always get us on Sporting160, at Sporting160_EN on Twitter. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for listening. We'll be on soon. And of course, Viva Sporting. Forza.
Send us a DM. Send us a DM if you want to be a guest, and we'll be glad to have you on the show.
For sure. And Joel De Silva, I don't know if you're still on the chat, bro, but we'll see you next week, bro. All right, ciao. Sorry, go.
And then my man from Jordan.
Yeah, Abdallah. Yeah, for sure.
Abdallah and also Caputo, because he's always on Twitter.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think Caputo's near you, or if I'm not mistaken, Capado, I should say. Sorry.
Okay.
I think he's near you, or maybe he's Boston area. Actually, never mind. Anyways, whatever.
Maryland, I think.
Maryland. Okay. Whatever. Here. Anyways, guys, we'll see you soon, and ciao. Viva Sporting.
Viva Sporting.